Welcome to Guiding Families Forward Through Divorce.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Guiding Families Forward Through Divorce with attorney Ann Hamer. Ann is a family law attorney and founding partner of Hamer and Taylor, with offices in Memphis and Nashville. She works with families throughout Tennessee, helping high net worth clients navigate divorce with discretion, strategy, and a focus on protecting what matters most. I'm Sean O'Connor, and today Ann and I are talking about protecting privacy during a Tennessee divorce and why discretion matters more than many people realize. Ann, good to see you.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for having me today.
Privacy. Let's talk about it, right? Like, why do privacy concerns tend to become so significant in high net worth or high conflict divorce cases?
Those are two different situations where we see the problem. People today are so attached to their social media, and
Mm.
unfortunately, we don't get a class in high school that teaches us how to responsibly use social media. We just have to hope for the best, right? And hope that everybody's being ethical and everybody's, on their best behavior. That's just not the case in a high conflict divorce, right?
Excuse-
So that's
Yeah.
the very nature of it is it's high conflict. And what we see, and it's super unfortunate, is that a lot of people just don't have self control, and their self control issues spill out onto their TikTok, their Instagram, their Facebook. In the old days, somebody might just call up the neighbors and say, "You'll never believe what my husband did." And that's just the old way, right? That's just social gossip. But now
Right.
you might have 2,000 followers and your spouse posts something on your Facebook page or theirs that's humiliating. And once that's out there, you can't pull it back.
Right. It is interesting how much social media is such a concern across the legal spectrum these days. I mean, it's a given. It's knit into our culture and society now. But those text chains, those social media feeds where he said, she said, and what do you mean you didn't know? You referenced it in this little movie you made. You know what I mean? It can be fraught. People people forget they're under stress, right? So they're in reactive mode. I'm it must be a challenge for you to.
It's a challenge, Sean, and I'll tell you what we do. We try to address it right up front. We have a letter that goes out to every client and it describes
Mm.
social media usage and what to do and what not to do. And I think they read it, but there are certain situations that I just can't be ready for or prescribe against. So one day we were searching a client's social media page and he had put all these shirtless pictures of himself on Facebook. So I had to call him and I said, "Look, we can't be shirtless on Facebook in the middle of a divorce." And he says, "Well, I'm just doing a cold plunge. I'm trying to teach my clients about cold plunge." Okay, I get
Right.
it. He's a
Yep.
health guru. That's part of his deal. No shirtless pictures. Like, let's just do the cold plunge with a
Yeah.
t-shirt on for now. So that just was one that caught me off guard. I never thought
Yeah.
I'd see that. What we try to tell them is, look, just be everything you post on social media, assume the judge is going to see it because the other side is looking at it. We had one client throw himself a 40th birthday party, a white party in Vegas with movie stars and Bentleys, and everybody's dressed up, and we see it on his Instagram. What are we going to do? There it is. Lucky for us, his wife then threw herself a party, and she had all her bling on, and she had a huge backyard bartending type of pool situation. So we could kind of balance them out. But you want to be, yeah, not a good look. You just want to be under the radar during your divorce.
I get it. Yeah. Hey, what about you know, this is directly adjacent, but what types of personal or financial information are people often surprised to learn that, could become relevant during a divorce?
That's is something we try to explain to our clients. There's a stage of divorce called discovery, and that is where the financial information comes out. So we get the financial questions and we answer them for our client. We send out financial questions and the other side answers those. If you're a high net worth individual, or even if you're just a regular individual, it can be daunting to see that you're writing down, your bank account numbers, your credit card debt. Uh,
Hmm.
that information is not filed in Tennessee with the court. That is kept internally in the lawyer's offices until trial. And if you go to trial, then trial is a public place. That's where
Right.
people can come in and they can have reporters there. We've all seen it over and over and over. And if you're in a case with, say, a country music star, that makes it more interesting, obviously, for reporters to want to come in.
Yeah.
And that's probably the first time that people's financial information will be out and about. And that's when court happens.
Yeah.
So if you can stay out of court, you want to stay out of court and keep that stuff nice and private.
Oh yeah, that's a good incentive. You know, we were talking about the mess that can be social media. I'm wondering, how you've seen, social media, iPhones, all the digital communication that's happened and changed the way privacy issues get handled. How has that shown up in divorce cases you've handled?
Well, I'll tell you, we watch the social media for our clients. Our clients watch their spouse's social media and save pictures, let us know, this is what they posted, this is what they're doing. They're on vacation with their girlfriend, whatever, because
Yeah.
they'll post it, right? Um, One thing let's talk about text for a second, because that's some place where I think we all have gotten real quick, with our thumbs or with our text to talk.
Yeah.
And so we're not thinking the way we should. A lot of my clients I see now are using ChatGPT to talk to me. I don't mind that at all. But what they
Hmm.
ought to be doing is running their conversations with their soon to be ex spouse through ChatGPT. And let's ask it to make this a congenial text.
Ah,
Ask it to make it a more pleasant tone. This is where we're really seeing the problem. There is an app, it's called Our Family Wizard. And I love it when my clients will either agree to use it or when a judge orders it, because it has a feature that's just designed to make the texts have a business-like, pleasant
oh,
tone.
interesting.
Very helpful. But yes, that's
Yeah.
that's where we see the big problems is the texting, because people just shoot it off so fast and don't realize that now that's evidence and it's getting ready to be attached to emotion, and I'm going to see it in court in 2 Fridays from now. So we try to help people understand, write like you're writing to your first grade teacher or your grandmother.
Well, it's interesting because just, you and I texting back and forth about something completely innocuous can get misinterpreted. That just happens, right? And so add those layers of human emotion and animosity and distrust that often accompanies these proceedings, and it really is just a potential
Minefield. It's a minefield.
like yeah, a minefield exactly. Um, Talk about you touched on this, but I'm curious when someone wants to protect sensitive financial information during a divorce, but of course they still have to meet legal obligations, right? You had mentioned certain things don't become public unless you go to trial. Can you speak more to that topic?
So, some of our clients will have contracts, let's say with music, different music
Hmm.
artists have contracts. We might have somebody who's got trade secrets with their business. There might be someone who has financial information through their company that needs to come out as far as ownership interests, what that looks like. But then it's also other people's information too, right? We just do a
Hmm.
non-disclosure agreement. And that's something you can ask your lawyer for. Tell them what it is first and explain the problem. If I turn over all this, my boss is going to flip because this is our client list. Or
Yeah.
I can't
Mhm.
have my recording contracts out there. I don't want everybody else to know what this company's paying me, what kind of cut
Right.
I'm getting. That's fine. And we're happy to do a non-disclosure agreement. Again, you're going to get into court and you're going to have to talk about your income and your assets and things like that at some point. But the courts are very sensitive to trying to prevent business information, financial information that doesn't need to be out in the public from getting out in the public.
It's good to know too. Um, what about the unique privacy concerns that might come up when a divorce involves? You mentioned business ownership, public facing careers. Celebrities, music stars, other people with prominent community involvement. What are the privacy issues that you face or you help them deal with?
So let's talk a little bit about discretion because I finished my own divorce in 7 months, door to door. I never said
Wow.
anything in public bad about my ex. I don't think he said much about me, maybe to family, but definitely not out in public. First place, we have kids. So I don't want everybody hearing bad things about the father of my children, right? But
Right.
also, when you are divorcing someone who is well known, you want them to continue to be well respected. Why is that? One, they're probably the parent of your children, and that's important
Hmm.
to your kids. But
Yeah.
two, uh, money's involved, right? So if
Yeah.
somebody is making a living because they're a country music star, and all of a sudden you're out spreading rumors about them being a drug addict or being gay or whatever your issue is that you want to tell everybody they did, think about how that's going to affect their career because you very well may be reliant on that career for alimony, for
Yeah.
property division, and you don't want to
Hmm.
be blowing up
Child
somebody's
support.
livelihood, right?
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
reliant on that livelihood. And people
Well,
just don't
interesting.
see that. They just don't see it. They also don't, what I do find is people don't understand the value of a non disclosure agreement. If you can agree, hey, I'm going to keep my mouth shut about all this crazy stuff you did, but you're going to pay me a pretty penny to do it. Perfect. Do it that way. You've got power. But the minute you release that information, your power's gone. It's out there in the universe now and everybody knows about it. You think they're going to give you a non-disclosure agreement? You think there's any value to it? Absolutely not. And that's what we see is some people just don't understand uh, why discretion is important and that there actually is a monetary value to it.
Yeah. In those early conversations with your clients and being able to shed light on those dynamics and even, and offer that as a strategy, basically, right? Because it also, I would think, it shows good faith with the other party. That's like, hey, I know there's this sensitive information that we don't want released.
It's just humiliating. I mean, right. Do you want everybody at the next cocktail party you go to know, behind your back, well, they were into this, that, and the other? No, of course you don't. I mean, that's your private life and you ought to be able to keep it private. And so should your ex-spouse. Whether you hate them, love them, whatever it is, you guys were a family and you need to show respect for that family and try to keep things as kosher as you can for as long as you can. It's just not a good look, like you said earlier. It's humiliating. Don't make yourself look petty like that. I just think it's bad form.
Easier said than done. We've all, I mean, on some level, we've all been there. Like, oh, geez, why did I say that?
Oh yeah, that's when you're supposed to go to the bathroom and scream into a pillow, right? You're not supposed to put it out on social media. Just do it the old fashioned way and be mad at home, but don't you don't need to let all that out in the open.
Well, we're talking about families, of course, and kids and how they are impacted by divorce, no matter what you do. But I'm wondering how you help parents keep children insulated from, the inevitable conflicts that come up, and they get,
Sean, it's hard. It really
yeah,
is hard. The It depends on your client,
true.
and obviously the younger the children are, the better. That's hard for them to comprehend really
Yeah.
what's going on, other than that their parents are going to live in a couple different houses.
Hmm.
Okay, and that helps. But as they get older in their teen years, they they don't need to know anything that's going on in the divorce. They don't need to be a third party emissary who um, carries messages back and
Hmm.
forth. They don't need to be trying to figure out their own parenting time, right? You can tell them, kids, this looks like a good schedule to me. What do you think? And your spouse can sit down with them and say, kids, this makes sense as a schedule. How does that work for you? Obviously, as if they're teenagers and
Yeah.
they're
Age
driving and
appropriate.
they've got a lot of extracurricular activities, you want to take their needs into account. But you don't need to be discussing with them, guess what? Dad and I have a hearing on Friday because he won't sell the house. Like, no, we're not having those conversations. They don't need to know anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Find a friend to talk to.
Exactly. Your kids are not your friend, they are children still.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Such a good point. Are there certain stages and of the divorce where people are more likely to make decisions that create privacy or reputational problems later? I don't know if the mistake is the right word, but
No, Sean, absolutely. Right off the bat, when they either they're shocked by the fact the divorce is happening. And let me
Mm,
tell you something, no one's really shocked their divorce is happening. Okay. They may be a little surprised, like maybe I thought we were in therapy, but come on, they knew something was going on. So
mhm,
when the divorce first comes down, that can be the first time that the people get really angry. Now this is happening. Why are you doing this to us? Why are you doing this to our family? The second time is usually when they find out that there's an affair. That will
mm.
be, they may just think, oh, divorce is going on and that's happening. Now we're going to figure that out. And then private investigators get involved. They find out there's an affair, or they're checking the phone, they're checking the email records, and now they know. And that is generally when we'll see them. Those two stages are kind of when people lose it. Uh,
Mm.
After 2 or 3 years, if people have a really high conflict divorce and it goes on and on and on, usually find that they start to slow down. Everybody runs out of steam to
I
be
was
mad.
gonna say, like, how long can you keep it up, you know?
Yeah, exactly. They got to go on and move on with their life. And so once they get in that mindset of, my God, enough already, I'm ready to move on with my life, fantastic. That's
Yeah.
when they're easier to work with and we're starting to get somewhere.
You mentioned mindset, and, I just wanna speak to this with the couple minutes we have left, Ann. If, if someone wants to approach divorce as discreetly and strategically, I mean, they really wanna approach it in a methodical way, what mindset or habits tend to make the biggest difference early on? I don't know, maybe this is sort of a first encounter. I've come to you and I'm like, "Hey, I'm thinking about filing for divorce for these reasons." Like, what's that conversation, or what advice would you give folks listening now?
Here's the advice I would give. My clients who come in with their finances organized, and I'm talking spreadsheets, those people's divorces run most smoothly and most quickly, particularly if you are the person who is in charge of all that. If you are the
Ah,
person who is the money maker and is going to have to turn all this over, and perhaps your spouse hasn't been involved, right? You want that paper trail to be as clean as it can be. If you own your own business, go get it valued. If you have, let's say you have, some people have a myriad of investment accounts. I
sure.
need to see all that. Get me the last 2 years of it. Let's get a spreadsheet put together. If money has moved or transferred in any weird way that your spouse may not know about, I need to know about it. And you need to tell your spouse about it through the lawyers. So if the financial paperwork is put together when you walk in the door with me or within a few months, it's going to move so much more quickly. It's the people who piecemeal, oh, I've got a bank account over there. I'll turn that in. Oh, hey, I've got to email you I forgot about my tax returns. It's going to take me a while to get those, or I haven't filed them for a couple years.
Mm.
Those people, that's when everything slows down. We have to wait to try to figure out the complicated financial issues. Some people purposely complicate their financial life.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and that just causes a big time slowdown. We've got to get experts in there to trace all the money and where it's gone. So if you can be organized from day one with your finances, you will get your divorce over with much more quickly.
But I heard in that too. It's like, don't try to hide anything because it's gonna come out.
Yeah, it does. I know it's really weird to me too when people,
No, everybody's gonna pay more money than they need to.
it's going to come out and your spouse is going to spend a lot of money paying experts to dig for it. Just put it out there.
Conflicts, distrust, all of that. I mean, if you want a divorce, let's keep it as clean as possible. I don't know. As someone who's never been divorced, easy for me to say, but uh, and a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for sharing your expertise and point of view, and I hope we get to talk again in the future.
That's awesome. Thank you, Sean. I really enjoyed it.
If you're considering divorce in Tennessee and want to work with Ann and her team, visit hamertaylor.com or annhamerlaw.com to learn more. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, maybe share this episode with someone in your world who could use this information. Really appreciate it. I'm Sean O'Connor. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.